Speakerman are traitors. How would you react to such a phrase if it were uttered not by me, but by, say, Dafuk or another character from the show? So as not to mislead you, we'll talk about that later. As many people already know, Michael Bay showed a teaser for the Skibidi Toilet movie. Who didn't know? More about it in this video. Also in a week, Dafuk Boom managed to finish only 5% of the episode, and the episode is already 85% complete. As I said in the previous video, episode 79 will be a two-part episode, and this was confirmed by Dafuk Boom himself. Why haven't we seen their base so far? And most importantly, could they turn out to be the most secretive and most hypocritical race in the entire series? Surely, on the background of new epic series and the appearance of memorable characters, you have already forgotten about it. That's why today we're going to do a full analysis of the Speakerman race. We'll go through all their appearances, lay out every single thing they do, every single hint, every single look. And at the end, as always, I'll tell you a crazy theory. A theory as to why betrayal of the Speakerman is possible. So before I start this video, as always, I'm gonna ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. And here we go. As we know, episode 78 finally showed us the Speaker Armada. But what if I told you that they're not really as strong as they look at first glance? After all, since their first appearance, namely since episode 24, this race has managed to appear and disappear as many as 2 times, and their fighters themselves have always seemed to be the most ineffective. It would seem that rumors about the upcoming Armada began to circulate in episode 77, and TV Man the Scientist mentioned it for the first time. And already in 78, we were shown Speakerman in all their power. And at first glance, they looked invincible. But we all realized that endless dominance over the enemy is impossible. No matter how much you prepare or improve, sooner or later there is an enemy that you are not ready for. In our case, it's the Astro Toilets. And as we know, the episode ended with heavy reinforcements arriving, including one of the most gigantic Astro Toilets shown in the entire series. And that's when everyone wondered, where is Titan? Did he really leave his fighters alone in such a fierce battle? If you think about it from a real military point of view, it's nonsense. After all, no one would send infantry to the tanks. But if we look through the eyes of the script, everything becomes much more interesting. This decision was made deliberately. We were given the opportunity to see each Speakerman, how they changed, what weapons and armor they received, and most importantly, we were introduced to a new character, Speakerman Executor. After all, if we were shown Titan at once, the audience's attention would have gone only to him. That's why the appearance of Executor misled many people, as he was immediately confused with Titan, who was so eagerly awaited. Judging by the fact that Dafuk's plans for episode 79 have changed, it is likely that this is the episode where we will finally be shown Titan's Speakerman. And what's interesting is that in the spoilers that Dafuk has already given us, there was not a single hint of Speakerman's appearance. They were simply not shown anywhere. And then I remembered episode 67. Then both Titans were defeated and everything was going to be a disaster. But at the most unexpected moment, Titan TV Man returned. We didn't see him in the spoilers either, but only at the end of the 66th episode we saw his possible return. No one would have thought that his improvement was already completed and he would be able to fight again. Here's another example. In episode 50, when it looked like the Cameraman base was about to fall, Titan Cameraman suddenly appeared, completely unexpectedly. His return was also not expected, but it was hinted at. I mean, in episode 49. But I'll tell you, in episode 78, there were hints of the Titans' reappearance. You tell me what they were. Simple, the Armada. Because as we know, Dafuk Boom always shows Titan third in line. Let's remember the first appearances of Speakerman and TV Man. Dafuk Boom first showed the usual agents, then the big ones, and only at the end of the Titan, in 78 episode, Dafuk Boom showed all at once, but without the Titan, and since we already know that, 79 episode will be divided into parts. I assume that the Titan appeared at the very end of the first part for intrigue. Now think about it. Speakerman Titan is the only one who hasn't directly intervened and changed the course of the battle so far. And judging by the spoilers where the real madness is going on, maybe that's where things are headed. Squad will start losing to the Astro Toilets. And then, at the most critical moment, Speakerman the Titan will show up to turn the tide. But one question remains. Have the scientists taken into account their past mistakes? After all, if you recall, the Speakerman Titan has already been infected twice, and without much difficulty. This casts doubt on its resilience in new battles, especially when compared to other Titans. In episode 57, the same Titan Cameraman was added protection against parasites. He sensed the threat and instantly destroyed the source of infection. And Titan TV Man was inaccessible to the infection, because after any touch of the Titan's body, the parasite immediately died. Titan Speakerman, on the other hand, has yet to receive such protection. And many people still ask why, but the answer is simple. The first time it was pumped skibidi toilets themselves, and they simply did not make sense to build in protection from parasites because they themselves controlled it through the parasite. But even if the Speakerman provide everything this time, there remains a new threat, the Astro Toilet Controller Core. That's a whole other level. Their core isn't just more technologically advanced and reliable, it's virtually impossible to unhook, and it only took a few seconds to completely subdue the TV Man Titan. So maybe Titan Speakerman won't use the standard core at all. Perhaps he'll be introduced a coil, because it's more versatile, more mobile, and far less vulnerable in situations like this. And of course, why we love Speakerman so much is for its agility and maneuverability. Unlike other Titans, which are massive, slow, and easy to target for encirclement, the Titan Speakerman acts very differently. It's not a frontal battering ram, it's a fast, agile assistant, perfect for taking out small but annoying fighters who get in the way in the heat of battle. Think back to episode 70 at least. When he was energized, he literally burst through a formation of skibidi toilets like a madman, destroying dozens of their fighters without the slightest effort. And if he gets powerful speakers, his effectiveness will only double. Now imagine if he teams up with G-Man again, as he did before when the Titan was infected by Speakerman. This duo will once again prove themselves. But this time, it's consensual, because now G-Man won't infect him. I don't think Titan Speakerman or the race in general will stubbornly stick to neutrality or start making principled conditions like Titan TV Man did. We remember how it ended. He just paid for his strange plan. Speakerman are the kindest and funniest race in the whole series. It's easier to negotiate with them. They're not prone to conflict within the team, and they're unlikely to cause trouble. But what if the Speakerman aren't as kind as they seem at first glance? In many TV series and cartoons, we have noticed the same pattern. Real villains often behave kindly, trying to remove all suspicion from themselves. Yes, perhaps this theory sounds strange, but if it turns out to be true, it will dramatically change not only the course of the war, but also the entire plot of the series. Why did I even come up with the idea that the Speakermen, in addition to being the most secretive race in the series, even ahead of the TV Man, could be potential traitors? First of all, we've never once seen their base. Even though the TV Man scientists knew about their Armada preparations, we still haven't gotten any footage of it. Perhaps they are hiding something from the cameramen, perhaps even intentionally. Dafuk, of course, has promised to show her, but so far it's just words. Second, the scholarly Speakerman is something we've almost never seen. The first time he was featured was in a distant 31st episode while in an infected state. The second time was in episode 74, where he was already being held captive by skibidi toilets. Nothing else. This is odd, considering the role scientists play in the development of their race. And finally, thirdly, their repeated disappearances. After their Titan was infected in episode 32, the Speakerman literally vaporized. No help to the Alliance, no sign of improvement. They didn't return until episode 59, and with no new technology on display. All of which suggests that all this time they've just been holed up, perhaps developing a new Titan to replace the infected one. And maybe Speakerman Executor was their backup Titan. Then Speakerman disappeared again after episode 74. But now, as we already know, to get some serious upgrades. But if the Speakermen are really part of the Alliance, why did they allow themselves to leave the cameramen virtually alone on the battlefield? Yes, the TV Man weren't always around either, sometimes retreating or disappearing. But unlike the Speakerman, they still participated in the battles. And what did we see from the Speakerman side? At best, 2 fighters in a few episodes, and that, more often in the form of dead bodies than active characters. Also, we still haven't figured out who the Speakerman who helped Lucky Cameraman get up works for. I still think that he saw Lucky Cameraman lying down in his seat, but he didn't tell anyone about it. The cameramen, on the other hand, even with the missing and wounded Titan, still continue to fight and go into battle no matter what. Such behavior of Speakermen seems strange, but on the other hand, there is a logic in it. By their absence, they keep the maximum number of fighters alive, unlike the same cameramen who suffer the greatest losses, because they are the only ones who openly and massively enter the battle. So, even if Speakerman behave in a benevolent manner, it is still 100% impossible to rule out the possibility that in the next difficulty within their race, they will again leave their allies to die, caring only about the safety of their own fighters. Yes, even though they're in an alliance, but does that mean they are truly loyal?